The story for Pinky and the Brain is as follows, as you would expect from the plot outline from the Animaniacs TV series. Pinky and the Brain are genetically altered lab mice that try to pull off plans to take over the world. Now, when I first started watching this show, I was a little worried because Pinky and the Brain were one of the best shorts in the Animaniacs show. It was great, had good endings, good humor, good ideas, but only for like 7 minutes. But it was still great. But then we come to this show and you're like, it's going to be 30-minute episodes. Can they pull off a whole heist or whole plan in 30 minutes? And I found out, yes, they can. And also there are variety episodes. Some episodes have more than one heist in them, and they're different stories. They're just 7 or 8 minutes or even 15 minutes. You know, they split up the episodes for different plans to take over the world. And some of the plans are good, some of them are okay, but there's never one that we go, God, that was a bad idea. And there were some episodes that were kind of like in the spirit of Animaniacs, where they would just be parodying Hollywood or just parroting certain things. But one thing they always parodied in a respectful way, because Maurice LaMarche, who does Brain, one of the inspirations for the voice of Brain was Orson Welles. And one of the shorts in Animaniacs was based off of the famous Orson Welles outtake from a radio commercial. So they continued doing that with this show. In fact, they did an episode where it was set in the 30s and there was radio shows, and of course there was The Shadow, which Orson Welles iconically provided the voice for. So they had a plot to take over the world by taking over a radio station, and Brain being the Shadow or something to try and hypnotize people. It was great. That was cute. They also did the film noir with Orson Welles. They did the Thin Man or the Third Man, and they did a variety of different things. There was like parodying or paying homage to Orson Welles, which was great. It was fun. But also they would have they of course would have cliffhanger episodes. And when they introduced Snowball, that was interesting. That was actually pretty cool. That was actually an episode I remember seeing back when Pinky and the Brain had their show on TV, was Snowball. Snowball is a hamster that was genetically altered at the same time Brain was. And Brain was, of course, more favored, and Snowball wasn't. But Snowball had greater plans for taking over the world, and so Brain doesn't want Snowball to win, so they're at odds with each other. And the humor is great. The voice actors were good. They had a lot of good ideas. One of the greatest ideas, and I'd like to get a lot of scientists together to discuss this episode. There was an episode where Brain decided to make a papier-mâché copy of Earth, an exact duplicate of Earth, but made with papier-mâché. And he made it above the Earth. There was a long ladder that connected the two, and he'd get all the people of Earth to go to the papier-mâché Earth, which he did. And then it was just Pinky and the Brain ruled the regular Earth. Now, that is obviously a completely fantastical idea, but it was a brilliant idea because it made you think. It was like, could that be possible? If it could, couldn't it? And stuff like that. Of course, there were some fantastical ideas, like a ladder, giant ladder that would connect both Earths for people to climb up. So yeah, that obviously is completely fantastical. But having a papier-mâché Earth and the Earth together, and I was like, there's so many scientific questions I'd have, like, would the gravities cancel each other out? Would it be possible to have two Earths like connected to one another, or something? There's just so many questions. You're like, could this be possible? Could this not be possible? What's the science behind it if it is possible, and stuff like that. In a artificial core that was in the papier-mâché Earth to make it, have gravity and spin and stuff. There's just so many questions, like, could this be possible? Could it not be possible? And it'd be an episode just to get a scientific discussion out of, which would be great. And some episodes they would have like the last episodes were like a 4-part episode or something, like that was like a Brain being brainwashed, and that there's somebody like taking over the world that wasn't Snowball. It was like a 4-part episode, but it was very intriguing. It was like one of the last season, and that was pretty cool. Now, Pinky and the Brain didn't have as a gratifying ending as Animaniacs did, but again, the Wacko's Wish provided a great ending for everybody, including Pinky and the Brain. But overall, the show of Pinky and the Brain was just good fun. It wasn't too gimmicky. It wasn't slapsticky. It kept everything fresh. They would change things up every season and every other show. They would try and change things up, keep it fresh, keep it funny. It never really lost what it was. It was just like you can tell they were running out of material towards the end. So it was good that it ended before it just got repetitive and stagnant. So for what it is a good show. It was a good spin-off. Not particularly memorable, but it was still good. I enjoyed it. And I haven't watched the other spin-off, Pinky, Elmire, and the Brain yet, but I will after I finish watching Tiny Toons. There's some more childhood memories there. But overall, Pinky and the Brain by itself is good. It can hold its own. It didn't need the Warner Brothers or anybody from the Animaniacs to interfere with it. They held their own. I have to admit, that is respectfully impressive. You know, you can, which is why when the reboot of Animaniacs came around, they mainly had the Warner siblings and Pinky and the Brain for the episodes. And so because, you know, Pinky and the Brain could help hold their own, and depending on how many shorts were in each episode. But yeah, Pinky and the Brain, the animated series, I give 3 stars out of 5 as well. It is great, fun, enjoyable, kind of slow in the beginning, but picks up as the show goes on. And if you're a film fan or just a fan of old Hollywood, old films, old radio shows, you'll love the Orson Welles homages. It's just great. Thank you all for watching, and have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.